It's just really understood.
Very good.
You can get that to the last board meeting if you want. It doesn't need to be till you.
Yes, I have a point out there that very done. Put something obvious. Yeah. We're not big things here, we'll walk. So it's a big, it could be the links.
So
What is it state?
we have done.
Sometimes you don't expect it.
He's going to be remote. So we're going to see you in 1 minute.
All right, we'll get going here. I'd like to call to order the joint meeting of the Norwich Public Utilities Board of Commissioners and Sewer Authority for July 25th, 2023. We'll get started. First item is a 15-minute public comment period. Are there any members of the public here that would like to speak? Everybody have anything? Okay, are there any members of the public here tonight that would like to speak? All right, hearing none. In the event that people do show up, we can always reopen that agenda item. All right, agenda item 3 is approval of the minutes of our last meeting, which is in your board package. I will entertain a motion.
Make that motion.
Thank you, Bill.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Robert. All right. I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion concerning the minutes from last month? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Are there any abstentions? All right, the motion carries. The minutes are approved. Good item 4, we have the leadership team template, the financial update, and there'll be an updated rate track schedule. So we'll start off with the leadership team template. Are there any questions or comments on the leadership team template?
I have a couple of questions. Regarding the Reading Booth project, it says they're waiting for National Park Service approval. What was that?
So that, well,
Driving that, is that?
I don't know if we know any more details about it, but it's one of the approval hurdles. We're good from a utility point of view. We're able to be creative in one of our transformers down there and not have to take a significant outage downtown in order to serve them. So we're good to move forward. What it is with the Park Service, I don't know the details other than I know that's a hurdle.
That's the only, it's just a hurdle they're waiting their approval. And then once they have that, we
Likely attached to the funding. In some way.
Any updates on the waterline extension to Bonneville?
Last discussions, they have the money ready to go, and they are meeting as a group of selectmen, and haven't given us the authority to move forward yet.
Thank you, Chris.
Just as a quick comment. I believe the U.S. Park Service is in charge of historic preservation. And I think that probably what they're waiting for is an okay to get historic tax credits and to redo the building in a way that is historically sound. I don't think there's gonna be any grass there.
All right, thank you. I had one question on the Greenville, I'll hold this about Greenville Dam, sorry, Eric. But it says, annual maintenance is planned, material ordered. So do we know, last year was a big repair, this year just a standard
Yes, so
repair?
hopefully this year is the standard. Everything looked good when we did the inspection, when the water level was down. Obviously, we just got hit with a whole bunch of water that's still come over, so we haven't re-inspected yet. But right now, we're anticipating normal maintenance.
Okay. And then, 7 Hydro, it says, new draft tubes. Can you very briefly describe what a draft tube is?
Yeah, so it's basically a big 3-foot section of pipe that sits underneath the hydro that equalizes the water as it's going through the unit. So, without it, the units actually cavitate, they won't, they lose power, which is how we found we.
So it's where the wheel is, or it's in front of the wheel, or it's behind the wheel?
It sits above the wheel in the water cavity.
Okay, I understand. Got it, okay. All right, that's all I had. Are there any additional questions on the questions or comments on the leadership team template? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the financial update, which was provided in your board package. Are there any questions or comments on the financial update? I did not have any either. Okay, Sean's on. Okay, hearing none, then the last item is the updated rate track schedule.
Yeah, the reason this was changed is because there was confusion. The meeting was scheduled last year for 1 week later than normal because of the NEPA conference that's coming up on the 4th Tuesday. So we're going to do it on the 5th Tuesday.
Okay, so we moved from we moved from August 22nd to August 29th, is that?
That's
the
correct.
date? And later on, we have to vote on it, is that correct?
That is correct.
Right, okay, all right, very well. All right then, moving on to strategic presentations, we have a sewer plant update. Who's leading this off?
Craig Wagner from CDM is here
All right,
to provide an update.
All right.
I just have to share my
Thank you,
screen.
Greg. Evening.
Getting there.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Sure. So, here again this meeting to offer another update on the water pollution control facility upgrade. Actually, Steve, you can go ahead and come forward, please. Just following up on what we talked about the last couple meetings. The last meeting, we talked some about the process we went through to review bid that had come in, and we have recommended award to the bidder, H. Nickerson and Company. We've had, I would say, a number of successful phone calls and meetings back and forth with Deep. They have had a number of questions, information they needed to keep their process moving, and we've done our best to facilitate them from our end. So some good collaboration back and forth in recent months, specifically this past month. They did come forward with their proposed grant eligibility determination, which is over 36% of the whole project, including financing and engineering and contingency and everything. So 36.4% was their final number, which is very good. That's exciting. We were hopeful that it could be that, and we're relieved that it is that. So over a third of the project being a grant, and as we talked about last month, the remainder, everything else that's not grant, is a low interest, 2% loan for a period of 20 years. So we believe generally very good news from the state, and we're appreciative of their help with that. So after all of our local local approvals, evaluations are complete, DEEP will review and approve what we've done and authorize MPU to move forward with an award to C.H. Nickerson. This process is taking some time. It kind of is what it is, and it does take some time. So I think it's worth noting, and we're appreciative. Nickerson has extended the validity of their bid through September 30th to allow these approvals and meetings to take place and to get all the paperwork in place that we need to move forward with the project.
Have we done work with C.H. Nickerson before?
We have.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have.
You have, okay. Has MPU done any work with Nickerson?
Probably, but I don't know.
Are they a full service company? Are they gonna contract on a lot of stuff, or, you know?
Well, actually, the president is sitting here. I don't mean to speak for you, John, but they're very capable. They will have subs on the project for certain things, but they self-perform a huge portion of it, which is a good feeling all the way around.
This is probably more for the MPU folks, but any word on any grants or federal funding coming down to help us with the upgrades?
We have some great news on state funding. Yeah. I want to talk about that, the percentage we're up to 36.4%.
Yeah, I realize that, but anything coming from the feds, because weren't we applying for some grants?
There's more funding coming down the pipe. We're always looking for additional funding on the wastewater treatment plant. What's the,
DCD SIF 2030.
SIF 2030? There's another round coming up on that. I think between October and December, we'll be submitting an application then for that.
And we're gonna close the landfill at Holland Park Island. Now, are we getting any state assistance with the closing of that landfill? Because I know we did get money when they closed Rogers Road and Quaney Road.
Is it separate for that, or
Is that
all part of
separate?
it?
Well, actually, it is part of the project.
It is, okay.
So
It
the great news is that you're getting 36.4% of the cost of that closure as well,
Okay.
because it's integrated all together.
Good.
Yeah, it's good for everybody.
I'm confused. I thought Holyoke Island would have been closed for 30 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, not properly.
50 years.
Not at today's standards. Plus, they're gonna put waste material, are you gonna bury some material there?
So, Mr. Staley, one of the things we're doing as part of this project is we went through a value engineering process, and it was apparent that a lot of a good portion of the cost of the project was in transport and disposal of the excavator. We're digging some very big holes to put in new tanks in the treatment plant site. So what DEEP has allowed us to do is to reopen Hollyhock Island at the top and put the excavated material from the tank excavate up on top of the landform, reshape it and close it to modern standards. So it's actually saving considerable money versus trucking that to somewhere far away. And it's a benefit here because landform will be reshaped and closed to modern standards, which is good.
I mean, I just remember it was in the 80s, actually. It was covered, there was grass, there was a track at the top of it.
It was a park on.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed that was over and done with.
Yeah, I think they're gonna put a liner on it, on the closing.
It's not a plastic liner, it's a low permeability soil cap.
Yeah.
So it's effectively a liner, but it's not man-made materials.
Yeah. And what about traffic? How much interference do you think the project may have on traffic on either the bridge or the street?
There will be more traffic than there is today.
Yeah.
I mean, trucks have to come in and out. One of the things I'd like to say is there'll be a lot less traffic than if all that material had to go offsite.
Oh, sure.
You know, we were gonna have a parade of dump trucks going up and down Falls Avenue, and now, once the machinery gets there and the equipment is delivered, it largely stays there.
Okay.
So I think There will have to be some increase over today, but we've done what we could to mitigate that.
As far as the technology that we're putting in, is this something that, C.H. Nickerson has done before? The wet weather training, things like that, I remember the tanks that they've done lots of those, but anything that's new that's relatively new technology?
I think they're more than capable with this. You know, this is the only wastewater treatment plants to be done, John.
And Stuart, the wet weather train is a phase 2 project that's going to be down the road. That's part of the long-term control plan. It won't, this will be ready to accept a wet weather train, but it will not include the wet weather train in this phase of the project.
Is the wet weather train part of the 199?
No.
No.
No, that's a subsequent project that's going to be down the road. We are increasing the capacity of the plant to make it capable and take more flow during wet weather in general, but
Okay, so the rest of it is just an upgraded, it's a newer, larger capacity.
It is, it's going to be state of the art, modern computers, modern blowers, new aeration systems, all good things, but
It's any surprises with, this is the first time you've done this and guess what happened?
no, it's not a guinea pig, not for us and not for Nickerson.
Nice.
I think I did have another slide, Steve.
It's coming. Activity.
Maybe I should stop while I'm ahead of here, but there was one more, I think.
It's changing on board.
So, after talking with NPU staff, we just want to outline next steps. The first one is actually tonight. Pending your discussion, it would be helpful to get a vote on the resolution in front of you tonight. We need to take the project to City Council for the first reading and a referral to the Commission on the City Plan that's scheduled for August 21st, if everything goes to plan. The Commission on the City Plan will then vote. That'll be a special meeting and has been scheduled, but my understanding is there's some flexibility there. And then back to the City Council for the informational session and the vote on the ordinance. And that'll be one of the first couple meetings in September. Not sure if it's going to be the 5th or the 18th, but somewhere in that range. And then when we're done, we do need funding application to go to the state. They've approved all our sign-offs and everything. And then we also need approval to award to CHS.
Will DEP's approval be done before the 30th of September? Good question.
We expected it could be. We are talking weekly with the staff at DEP. Carlos knows my number, and he picked up the phone, which is helpful. But yeah. I mean, the expectation is this is giving them enough time, and he called me today, and he wants me to call him tomorrow and see how this meeting went. Did the resolution go forward? They're measuring their steps to make sure that they can help us meet this project deadline.
The level of cooperation has been very positive.
Yeah, I don't even know if we need that one, Steve. I left it in the slide deck as a reminder of how we got to that cost for the resolution. Certainly look at it, I could go through if that's helpful. But any other questions on how we're getting there for now?
I'll agree with this, but now that I asked the question about phase 2, which is coming, we already know what that's going to look like, right? It's going to be the wet weather train. We haven't engineered it and all that, yes, but we have a rough idea of what it's going to look like, where it's going to go, how it's going to hook up, et cetera. Yeah, but is it far enough along we put a price tag on it?
I would hesitate to do that on live TV here. We have a CSO long-term control plan that was submitted to the state. Has not yet been approved by the state, but they are, talking as if that's, we've given them everything they've asked for. So the current plan is designed to kind of dovetail with the wet weather train, and other components of that would be an upgrade to the Rose Alley pumping station and over the river. So there's a bunch of pieces that need to come together, but as you may recall, the long-term control plan is a 30-year program that follows after this. So
is there a deadline to get phase 2 going? We have
there's not right now. There was a schedule that was proposed, but that has been.
So when did the 30 years you just mentioned start? That's like 5 years ago? I don't think.
Well, per the long-term control plan, it would already in progress, but it also hasn't been approved yet. So as DEEP sits on that, the start line.
I'll just add one thing, if I could. So what we talked to Chris about is after hopefully this project moves forward in September, October timeframe, the long-term control plan requires a 5-year update. So we're at that timeframe. So what we suggested that we would do is likely notify DEEP. We have these new bids in, we have this in. We're going to start our new 5-year update since you haven't acted on the other one. With that, we would get a new schedule, a new affordability analysis, and some new cost estimates to probably answer a lot of the questions that are going through your head right now. Hey, how's this going to affect us overall? So that's the current plan. So stepwise to get this one moving, and then to talk to DEEP and say, hey, we have a 5-year update coming up right now. Let us redo our affordability analysis, get some updated cost estimates, and we'll propose a new schedule.
Just to build on that too, DEEP is doing this on a long process, as you know, they're fully aware of cost escalation. They understand that this project exceeded what was originally 5 years ago, so they're very keen with that. So I think to just do a 5-year update, they recognize that there's going to be some reconfiguration of the long-term plan.
Any CSO eliminated based on the current project? In the way or?
I would go with no as part of this project. I think that several of them will get smaller.
Yeah.
And I know that NFU has been able to eliminate some already through other projects that they're doing. But
We eliminated 3 in the last 4 years, and the other ones are fairly critical, but as the more you improve your system, line pipes and keep groundwater and keep filtration out, you get more capacity back. And we had a total of 11, 13. We had 11.
we were 14 a short while ago.
So maybe I just haven't followed along as well as I should, but the wet train portion of the project, was that at one point considered part of the overall upgrade and now it's separate, or were they always separated, or?
It was always planned to be separate as a way to, in part, control cost in a measured fashion.
Yeah. So Bob, we talked about that when we asked for approval of the long-term control plan to move forward. That's when we were talking about the wet weather train, and that was the next phase after this.
All right, and so, you're reticent to give us a price tag on that, but we're also going to be resetting rates for a period for the future, including the sewer rates. Is that expense or some estimate of that expense included in the multi-year sewer rates that we're going to be talking about, or is that in addition to? Hello?
Yeah. So Bob, this wouldn't start at least for 5 years, and we're going to look, because of the affordability reasons, to push that out maybe a little longer than 5 years. That's the negotiation that comes up with the next update to DEEP. So this will not be impacted at all with the next 3-year rate increase.
So for sewer, given the great news that we got from DEEP on the significantly increased grant percentage for the wastewater treatment plan, we've adjusted the financial calculations. So the analysis included the expected costs, the final rate percentage, which we didn't have at our workshop, and looking at doing the cost recovery over a longer period of time. At the workshop, we recommended a rate change, not a rate track for sewer, and that was 17%. As a result of our analysis, we've been able to reduce that proposed rate increase from 17% to 12%. So that represents the increase in millions of dollars of grant funding that we're getting from DEP.
That's an annual increase for the next 2 years.
It's a rate change, not a rate track. So for gas, electric, and water, it's annual increases every year for 3 years.
Yes.
For sewer, we're changing the rate effective November of 2023.
Yeah.
And then as we go through this project, every year we're going to review and analyze that. Prior to doing rate tracks, we would do rate changes on a periodic, generally fiscal year basis. Because of the complexity of this project and the variables that are going to happen over the next 5 years while we're building it, doing that annual review, also having the ability to take into consideration the long-term control plan and the affordability analysis, that will help us have a much better information as opposed to, based on estimates, pushing out 3 years. That's why we're proposing a rate change and not a rate track.
Okay, very well. Are there any additional questions or comments related to the sewer plant update? All right. Hearing none, then we have 2 action items this evening. The first of which is, thank you, Craig. The first of which is a resolution that is in your board packet related to the sewer plant upgrade that we just discussed. And if we'll have an opportunity to look at that, I will entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
That resolution. Just one additional question. I was wondering, so it's 2% for 20 years, right? And I was wondering, would that incorporate that into the resolution or not really? Just so that people know that it's a low interest.
When we talk about this publicly, we're going to lay all that out today and emphasize that the significant increase in grant funding is going to help. That we're looking at very low interest over 20 years. We're going to talk to the day about when we're going to talk about this with them. So I understand the importance and sensitivity of it to let people know that there's help in the way for a year, but also to do it this way, we can adapt to potential new sources of funding or not sources of funding. So good news or bad news, we'll be able to
Just a thought.
Okay.
Also lay that motion.
All right, thank you. I got a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Robert. All right, we have a first and a second. Is there any discussion on the resolution in your board package relative to the sewer plant upgrade?
A bottle of champagne.
Funding thereof.
Maybe they'll do that again.
We've been talking about this for what, 5 years, 7 years? Long time. Long time.
Congratulations.
All right, okay, is there any discussion on the resolution? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions? All right, the motion carries. There you go. Very well. All right, the second action item this evening is to adjust the date for the public hearing for said project from August 22nd to August 29th. And I will entertain a motion to make that change in the date. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Robert. I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion on the date change for the public hearing? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions? All right, the motion carries. The date has been changed to August 29th. Very well. And this is definitely going to be the shortest meeting of the year. Last month was close, but this one we crushed. All right. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sure you're right. All right, here we go. I'm sorry. All right. NPU has received and recognized by the American Public Gas Association. This is a prestigious award that is presented to only the top performing public natural gas companies in the country. Jeff or Chris, who would we want to provide an overview of this recognition.
So Barry Ellison is here tonight. He heads up our gas division, as you know well. And Barry, if you just want to give, I know there's a ton of work that Barry and his team put into applying for and getting this. And this is our second consecutive time at silver level. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Barry?
Yep, so thank you. The American Public Gas Association sends out a questionnaire on 4 topic areas: employee safety, system improvement, system integrity, and workforce development. And that questionnaire is scored by our peers in the industry. And just to achieve silver level, you have to say answer correctly, if you will, or answer satisfactorily 94% or greater of the answers. And we hit 90, actually, I apologize, it's 90 to 97 is silver, we landed at 94. Get gold, you have to be 97. There's only about 12 to 15 companies in the country that get silver, much less get gold, and some more get bronze. It's something to be proud of as a company.
Wow, excellent.
So on a national level, we were just down
Right.
conference last week,
Yep.
received the award.
We received the award in Phoenix, where it was about 118 degrees.
Yeah.
Send a picture to prove it.
Inside, yeah.
It was fun.
Nice, nice. That's
It's
great.
a team effort from this board, senior team, all the way down to the people who put pipe in the ground, answer the order gas calls.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
All right.
And there's one thing about this award. It's not just the work that went into the application for getting and receiving this award. It's that we're running an excellent gas operation, and thanks to Barry and his team for doing such a great job that we could actually put in the application and get it. You can't just say we do it. We have to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. And Barry's doing a great job of both.
All right. Very, very well. Thanks, Chris. All right. If there's any additional, is there any additional business to come before this board this evening?
So I had just a couple quick questions. You know, I read in the paper, talking about Phoenix, that they shut off a woman's electricity. She died. She had about $71 or something like that.
$51.
Yeah, and so I see our cutoffs, terminations are going up a little bit, 160. Is that percent a problem? I mean, how do you guys address that sort of thing?
So traditionally, and again, the climate's changing right now. So traditionally, we don't terminate services in the winter. You know, it's going to be below freezing within the next 3 days. And we've actually already made the decision not to terminate service or delay termination of services Thursday of this week due to the heat advisory. So along the same line, that's something we were talking about anyway. But Chris Riley will be putting some communication out on some power alert days as well, where we are going to be asking people to do voluntary conservation that they can do safely, you know, to help our costs on an annual basis. So this is something we're tracking, and we're going to put a metric, actually, as a result of reading that, put a metric in place that we do this on a routine basis, you know, whether it's the issuance of a heat advisory or some level where there's a potential safety concern.
Sure, you guys will get that a little closer. That's good.
Absolutely.
Just want to make sure that's done, you know.
It's just like a storm or anything else, right? We're very intuitive about it.
Right. Speaking of which, so there's a great article about tree trimming. And, but I was wondering, now, is there a policy on tree trimming? In other words, if you're cutting a tree down or trimming it, do you talk to the resident about it? Do you leave it up to the tree warden from the city? Is it left up to Asplund?
So trees, again, as for the certified, you know, they're certified arborists, but we clear a 10-foot radius around the lines for purposes of safety. Having said that, there's always communication, and our line foreman and Eric and his team, you know, anytime there's a question or a concern, you know, with regards to trees, we go out. This is our advantage municipal utility, right? We go out and we deal with people individually on that. Every so often, there's a situation where, for public safety and the reliability of the system, that, you know, we have to find a way to work together to get where we need to get. But we're able to minimize those impacts. It happens periodically, but not to the extent.
So at the end of the day, I mean, if somebody appeals your decision to trim or cut a tree down, is there an appeal process? Do they go to the city tree warden? Do they go to?
I don't think we've ever had one, Eric, that's gotten out of our own internal.
No, to be honest, usually people are looking for us to cut trees. But, we do work with the tree warden, but that's typically when it's on city property. And in that case, we'll split the tree with the city or something like that. If it was also water power line, but when it's utility work specific, well, that's just utility work.
It's good that Asplund has a certified operator, because that's really the person that needs to analyze these things.
We had a customer recently adjacent to one of our transmission lines, and, you can't have tall trees, interfering with transmission lines. But having said that, we're out there planting with 7 or 9 trees in place of 3 that we took down.
So do you replant trees? Yes. Also, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, tie and beyond goes to the customer on this type of stuff. And Eric and his team do a great job of being creative with how we address that.
Yeah, and our preference, we actually usually offer fence first, because fences don't grow. So that's our budget. But if you don't take offense, then we will plant trees.
Yeah.
All right, well,
One last question.
go ahead.
I saw that, I was reading AARP, and I saw that sewer and water bills are really going up nationwide. And they gave an average price. I was wondering, do we know what the average price for residential property for average
We will include that average cost as part of our presentation for the rate hearing.
I like to see comparisons.
Yeah, we do that traditionally, show where we fall in range.
But typically for, electricity, we're always very competitive, much lower. But for water and sewer, we're typically in the middle of the pack. So Stevens, they put together 10 or 12 towns in the region, and we're usually towards the middle.
Yeah, they said the nationwide average is $118 for sewer. So I wanted to kind of get a feel for where these.
And over the past several years, especially with conservation, pollution, climate, that type of thing, that's something that has been on the radar. Larry, that's something that we've typically seen in AWWA presentations, that it's forecasting that it's going to just continue to climb.
Regulations keep oscillating, neighbor.
I think the other thing is that when it comes to electric and gas and water, but not sewer, we have a 10% pilot requirement. And that's higher than almost everyone else. I mean, it's double what Groton is. And that impacts rates.
One last question.
We're getting a workout.
We got all night, Bill.
So Pura recently rejected UI's proposals. So I was wondering, is it up to the board if we're gonna reject an increase? Is it solely up to the board of commissioners that does that, or?
That's the responsibility of the Board of Commissioners, Bill.
So, that's it.
Certain things fluctuate a lot more than our rates.
One last other thing.
Who's that investigator? We used to always say that. One last question.
My wife went, got me a cell phone on Tuesday. I haven't used it yet, so I have a cell phone, so I'll let everybody know.
All right, we look forward to it.
So I only have one question, but when we start looking at the rate increases and at the budget, when do we have an opportunity to comment and make recommendations and so forth? Because the public hearing is coming up at our next meeting, essentially.
Yeah, so Bob, you can ask questions, any questions, up till the next, public hearing. The meeting at the public hearing, and then we're not expecting a vote on at the next meeting in August. We're expecting the vote in the September meeting. So you'll have the whole month to ask additional questions and the September meeting to ask additional questions as well. And the board has the ability to state what the proposed rates are from what we are proposing, and also to get additional information as needed.
So, I mean, for example, we might conceivably have an executive session at the meeting on the 29th of August following the public hearing, and following our regular session, where we can discuss rates. Is that possible? Or does that have to all be public?
I think that has to be in the public.
That has to be public, Bob, but any additional information before and after we can provide, and we can have those discussions in the public session.
And the rate consultant will be here on the 29th as well, if you want to have any questions.
I had one question, going back to the trees. I've got a pole of guy wire. The guy wire is attached to a tree on my property. When my arborist comes out, he's just horrified. You gotta tell the power company to get that guy wire off. It's gonna kill the tree, et cetera, et cetera. The tree doesn't seem to mind. But my question is, current policy, is that an old policy?
That is the old policy. You still have some of those throughout the city. In most cases, we're replacing them with what's called guide pole. Just a pole without on it, but guide wire.
So when it comes time to replace the pole, maybe that'll get done. That's kind of my position, because I don't think the tree's doing fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a half light pole.
Yeah. All right.
If anyone were to request us to remove a guy from a tree, we would go and do the engineering and make it happen if it's feasible.
All right, I'll ask the tree. Maybe he does know. Yeah. All right, so any additional business to come before this board this evening? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, William.
Michael second.
All right, thank you, Mike. I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, and this is a big step in moving forward with the plan, so really appreciate it.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah.
Take care. Thanks for coming.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.